Let me take a minute and introduce myself in case you don't know who I am. I'm Dr. Melanie Louie, the director of our Center for Faculty Development. And we welcome you today to our session, Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education, Balancing Innovation and Human Values as part of our AI conversation series this semester. Just some housekeeping before we get started. The session is being recorded in case that changes the way you want to participate. You're welcome to use the chat to engage and chat about the content as you go along. We also have a Q&A feature, so if you do have questions for our speaker, you're welcome to put them there, and our Assistant Director, Ashley Allen, will help monitor that piece for you. And with that, I want to introduce our speaker today. Dr. Akben is an assistant professor of management and the director of the Artificial Intelligence Integration at Elon University in North Carolina. His work focuses on emerging AI technologies, particularly deep learning and generative AI, and shaping human cognition, behavior, and how institutions and organizations can thoughtfully integrate these advancements. And we are so excited to have him today to speak on these issues. And with that, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for this great introduction. I'm very happy to be here today. Normally, my voice is much better. I start losing my voice. I've been presenting a couple of different things last few days. Sorry about that. And let's get started. What I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to cover and look at how AI plays a role in higher educations. And I'm going to present some of the current advancement, what's going on in AI. And I just plan some of the application of this technology to inspire you, give idea what you can do in your classroom, teaching, learning, or work life. And then I am planning to hold a group discussion session. We are going to divide ourselves into breakout rooms. There is a couple of questions. What make you excited about this technology, or what make you scared about this technology? Then I'm going to go over the ethical and responsible use of this technology. By the way, let me check it again. It seems that you can hear me well. Am I right? Cool. So who am I? What I do? I teach AI. I have class on AI, how we utilize AI in generative AI to increase your productivity. And I do research on AI. I have recent publication how this technology can be utilized to increase students' learning experience. I have a couple of methodology papers looking at the deep learning models, how we can just utilize these deep learning models to increase scientific discoveries. I have a digital scholarship published on GitHub. Investigate the high-level deep learning models or machine learning models. And there is a fun story. I really like sharing this story. Indeed, I start looking at the large language models before ChatGPT becomes something. And I have a series of research lineup. And when I first year at Elon University, I write an internal grant. It was 2021 or some 2022 before the ChatGPT, and the grant was about utilizing ChatGPT or chatbots to increase students' learning. And people just told me there is no technology like that. After a month later, ChatGPT came and they just told me, hey, there was a dude talking about chatbot. We need to get that person into our committee. And that was a quite interesting. All of a sudden, my research area become something very prominent in the public discourse, and people talking about everywhere almost. So I was lucky. I won last 2 years AI international AI competition. If we have any industrial or organizational psychologists in this group, they are familiar with SIOP, Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology. They hold machine learning and AI competition. Last year, I was a winner, and before that, I was a winner as well. I developed a machine learning system that can read people's email to identify who's going to be a leader. In the second year, I developed another machine learning system to identify whether a person demonstrates emotional intelligence when they are giving a feedback to their employees. And in both cases, my solution was the top solution. I'm very proud of this, and I work with my students on that too. I received AI research grant from OpenAI. That was a very nice, generous to them to investigate emotional intelligence skill set of AI system. And I'm about to complete my research, and this is almost done. We are about to send this research, submit this research in a few days. Indeed, we found that overall AI can read human emotion much better than human reads other emotions. However, there is a much nuanced stuff. If we work together, all together, we can beat AIs. AIs, nothing. We need to work together, collective intelligence. So I develop AI models for Elon University and for other nonprofit organization. I like helping people. I have a website I'm going to share, open source, open access. I share with my colleague. They can go and start using my chatbot for their teaching and learning. And I led more than 60 workshop, maybe more than that. That was last year's workshops. So that is one of the international AI competition from 2023 when I just won that. And that is the last year's AI competition with my students. And very important or very kind of nice part of this competition was my students and I was presenting the results and people was saying that, hey, to my students, hey, Aaron, can you just come to our organization and work with us? And it just showed that students already get their internship when they just presented some nice work here. He already get offer from Meta, Amazon, those big companies. And when I'm presenting my solution, a few people come from that company to ask me how you come up with this solution. I was telling myself, are you asking me? You are the person developing this system, and you're asking me to how I just develop. That was a fun other anecdote. So let's start talking. Years of innovation and challenges. How many of you heard ChatGPT? You can just thumbs up or just give a reaction. You can just send this reactions. And what's your guess about ChatGPT? How many people using ChatGPT daily basis? Let's look at the most visited web page all over the world, and ChatGPT ranked the top eighth in the world. And when you look at the other web pages, you're going to see that YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, these are the social media web page. And the ChatGPT and Wikipedia only the resources, at least kind of academic or educational resources. I'm not saying that they're best, the resources people using it. That is to say, many people using this technology related to their educational endeavor. Indeed, I have a conversation with the ChatGPT CFOs and other high-level leaders. I was lucky to attend a few of their event, and they have three offerings. They have offer for individual users, enterprise, and education. Guess why education? Because education is 60, 70% of their traffic. That is to say, many users using this technology because of the educational purposes. Sometimes we don't want to say it, but write my essay purposes. Am I right? So, and you heard ChatGPT. This is a ChatGPT. How many of you have heard Copilot? Have you ever heard? Good. Me too. How about Cloud? Anthropic. Very nice. How about Gemini? Very nice. It seems that we have a very nice group aware of the artificial intelligence. Even sometimes I present me people stack either here or there. You just all goes through all of those AI tools. Very nice. Today we are going to talk some of them. So we at the Elon University every year ask experts what do they think about the technology. And last year we asked whether they believe that AI going to impact some of the social institution and the systems. And 97% of the experts says that colleges and universities going to be highly impacted by this technology. But the kind of positive side of it, more than majority believe that the impact going to be positive rather than negative. Still, there is a concern about the full negative, definitely negative perception, but I'm kind of between both. I'm kind of in this group. It can be equally positive and equally negative if you're not managing your future well. And other reports just show that ChatGPT or other generative AI tools in educational institution can increase the performance at the leadership level up to 37%, such as provost office, president's office, or other offices. And it's also these tools can also help educator to create more plan, more creative educational class materials, and free up their time up to 20% and so on. And most importantly, those people or students who are using this tool reported increased learning experiences. I just want to stress that these are kind of reported. If you're familiar with this term, report and the RCT, random controllized trials, and the test or lab tests are different. We just see that people just reporting much better learning outcome, but we need more tests to see that that outcome is still hold after all of those randomized experimentations. And this technology seems like not going to be, slowed down. Recent report, October 2024, almost 2 months ago, just saying that many leaders in the institutions believe that this technology is going to impact 93% of their, you know, daily life, daily experience in the higher education. And there is an increased concern about these technologies, biases, and other important implication. One of the interesting takeaway from this report was almost 80% of the work, future of work, can be done or can be automated, assumed to be automated by these generative AI technologies in the workplace. And that is the kind of place that we need to talk and we need to start. How are we going to deal with this future when it just comes? And when we look at how educational institutions responding this, you can see there is a first caution, then curiosity. When the first technology just released in 2022, I remember Oxford University and then what's the other one? Cambridge University. They immediately banned these technologies and blocked the API address to ChatGPT. After 2 months or 3 months later, they just said, we are not going to do it because if we do it, we are going to be kind of those people. They release and they just start giving access to this tool as well. Increasingly, we are seeing that big institution moving and implementation and integration of these technologies in their institutions, such as Arizona State, one of the early adopters. They spent $1 million or $2 million to get the ChatGPT license for their institution. They got it 5,000 license. And just yesterday, when I was preparing these slides, California State Universities just released a news note, and they spent 120, if I'm not wrong, I estimated $120 million deals with ChatGPT to utilize 500,000 ChatGPT account in California State University system. So that is to say, many institutions using, adopting, and integrating in their daily work in one or other sense. Some institutions not giving access to students, but only the faculty and staff. Other institution providing full access. California State University planning to give 500,000, 300 or something like that, 200,000 students access to this tool. And that is the overall landscape in the higher education. Many people start using it. But what are the advancements in this technology? What are we seeing that? When we look at that, there is a Nature publication just a few months ago, maybe last year. They just look at how AI holding against human. According to their recent benchmark, AI almost beating human many different benchmarks. And the skill set or capacity of this technology is accelerated. When you see that here, this to reach human level, it takes about 1998 to almost 2018, almost more than 20 years or 30 years from here to here. Right now, almost a year, half of a year, we are just hitting human level performance. So AI can do better than reading comprehension, image recognitions, language understanding, and they are right now getting better and better. Indeed, there's a new models release They called O1 and O3 by OpenAI just a month ago. And that model is the PhD level. How many of you heard O1 models or O3 models? Can I see hands or any reaction? No. So these models are getting better and better, even scary sometimes. And here are the benchmark. This is a benchmark. This model, all one models already suppress all the previous benchmark. They just come up a new benchmark to measure the intelligence of the system. And this is the PhD level science questions. When you look at that, average PhD person can answer 70%, and that O1 models reach easily 78%. They release a new model they called O3. It reaches almost 95%. And they did it just 2 weeks ago, just recently. And here is test for you to understand how this model work. Here, quick test. I want you to read this statement and tell me what you understand. You can unmute yourself. Any idea? Really, after reading, what do you think? The yard has beautiful trees. Am I right? It seems like scenery describing something beautiful place. And I put the same thing. This is the O1 models, PhD level models. I didn't edit anything. Let's see what we are going to get here. Oh, it seems like PhD level model is so dumb. Just saying, I'm doing well. Couldn't understand. Good. No worries. Indeed, I just said, why did you say that? Explain your answer. Why did you say I'm doing well? And it says, I noticed that the first letter of the each word reads, hey, how are you? So let's look at it again. Aisha, show me. That was a secret message that I wrote. And when you look at this first letters of each word, it reads, hey, how are you? This is a PhD level model. It can decipher such convoluted cases, and it is already shown very impactful. Some of the people reported that they are start solving long-standing problem in their field, such as math. They are developing new theories, biology. They are coming up new models, and they are just advancing science faster than ever. Indeed, last year, 2024, the the new two Nobel Prize given to AI researcher. Have you ever heard this name, Jeffrey Hinton and John Hopfield? These are the founding father of the deep learning, John Hopfield and Jeffrey Hinton. That is a person they called grandfather or godfather of the deep learning models. Thanks to these guys, right now we are running ChatGPTs. They come up with an algorithm such as gradient descent, and Nobel Prize Committee just acknowledged their advancement. And in Nobel Prize Chemistry, just given to Demis Hassabis and his team, and this person is the person who developed Gemini at Google. So scientists acknowledge the development in the AI and their contribution to science. And we are expect that maybe in the future, I'm just speculating here, maybe in the future we are going to see that one of the AI tools going to receive Nobel Prize, and it's going to be very shocking. So what is the impact of these technologies on economy? We just talk about education, science. Let's look at economy. Because at the end, when students enroll our schools, although the main purpose is not never for me to make the students get a guaranteed job, but more like teach them critical thinking skills and lifelong skills that they can bring with them. But many students still look at pragmatically and they ask, what are the economic gain or what are the economic outcomes we have? When you look at these economic outcomes, you're going to see that big companies and MIT estimated this technology can create $4 trillion economic value, increase our wealth for everyone. That's good. And people who are using this technology already reported up to 18 point much better work experience. They are becoming much better at the communication. They write much more clear emails. They become more creative, come up with a more creative ideas. They become or they demonstrate more critical thinking skills, at least demonstrate. I quoted it because it is not sure who's the critical thinking skills being demonstrated, and they have a much better collaboration skill. And the recent research, again from Microsoft, has shown that those people divided in two categories, those user. We have a users, they called power users, these green people, and we have a skeptics. I don't know where you find yourself. I'm kind of power user. I use AI most of the time for different purposes I'm going to show. And those people who are using these extensively, they are exploring these models' capacity in a sense they can understand what this model can do or not. And also, they are reporting increased creativity in their work, productivity, most important work, I mean, increased focus, and so on and so forth. But if you're not using AI, you're not seeing the benefit of it. That is to say, the attitude or the practice that you do with these tools affect how much gain you're going to get it. The more you explore, the more you're going to see the benefit of it. If you're not touching it, if you have some, presumption about the use of these tools, maybe that is the time we need to explore or change our attitude slightly and move ourselves towards much more power users area to gain the benefit. I'm not saying that everyone have to do it, but there is a research repeatedly show that the more you use, the more productive and creative you can be. Interestingly, there is a recent research just came. They look at whether in the job title, if you have resume, have chat GPT or something, generative AI, whether you're going to earn more. And across the board, students reported 10K, almost 5K more earning when they have generative AI, when they apply for a job opening with a keyword ChatGPT, generative AI tools, and so on and so forth. So that is to say, if you are having those skill set when you're graduating from the university, you're going to be earning slightly more for the same position. And research from the Harvard Business School also show that people can gain up to 40% productivity, economic value. And if you're top performers, you can receive still 70% productivity. But when you look at these overall trend, you're going to see that this is a kind of uh, equalizers. For the bottom half, skilled people increase the productivity much larger, top performing having a ceiling effect in their performance. And that is my research. I'm about to complete that research too. That is the before the ChatGPT research, almost 2 years old. In that research, I just give students I test to measure their creativity. We have a different condition, just only human condition, use Google search condition and human and ChatGPT condition. Not surprisingly, human and ChatGPT condition produce the most interesting output and creative output. However, we have a big if in our finding. If you know how to use this technology accurately, and if you know some of those AI literacy tools or AI literacy principles. We have seen this effect in the moderation. That is to say, if we are teaching students how to use this technology, they are going to gain benefit. But if you are not using, they are going to stay almost nothing. It may be slightly negatively affecting their performance when they are interacting with this tool. And finally, just last month, another research showed that using generative AI tools can increase students' critical thinking when integrated well in the classroom. I want to conclude these sections by with this final statistic. This comes from 2024 Work Trend Index, and they ask the 30,000 global leaders whether you would hire a person without an AI skills. And 66% of them says, I wouldn't hire a new grad without an AI skill. And they ask much kind of interesting question. Would you hire a new hire with AI skills or experienced hire without an AI skills? And 71% of them prefer new hire, no experience, but AI skill. That is to say, if we are not teaching our students and honing their AI literacy skills, we are just unfortunately making our students disadvantaged when they are graduated our programs. We need to be more mindful about this, and we need to think about how are we planning and our curriculum and courses to make the students learning much more impactful. So takeaway, AI is powerful. You saw that. They can do PhD level work. AI increase productivity up to 40%. AI can you make you more collaborative. AI sounds smart and more empathetic. There is a whole bunch of debate about these issues. I'm not going to repeat, but they just say maybe it's a mimicry or maybe it's a real awareness. This is a philosophical discussion out of today's topic. And there is a great source of differences when you use AI to get a new perspective, to be a creative, and it can increase students' learning if students know how to use well. With that, I kind of completed overall what we have. Do we have any question? Otherwise, I'm going to show you how you can utilize AI in your daily work, teaching, learning, research, or other applications. Okay. So here are some example I pick for us. First, house cleaning. How many of you using ChatGPT right now? Like, can I see hands or thumbs up? If you're listening or if you're not giving attention right because of you're distracted, I highly suggest just watch this video. This is going to save data security for you and data privacy. I'm going to teach you or show you to protect your data. Okay? Here, the first step. Let's go open your chat GPT after watching this video and check it whether you're sharing your data with chat GPT people or not. Because when I'm presenting, people use it, but they don't know they are sharing their all those data. Here the video. Let's watch it. Please watch it carefully. You're gonna go click the corner. There's a settings. Click settings. Under the setting, there is a data control. And the data control improve the model for everyone. It must be off. If it's on, that means you're sharing your personal data with ChatGPT people. Right now, I'm gonna give you time, a few minutes. Go check your ChatGPT data security if you're using ChatGPT. And I just want to see how many of you right now was on yes or on or off. Let's make a quick kind of poll here, if I can put it up. Oh, we have some on here. The settings are here. When you go at the corner, right corner, settings, right corner around the picture. So that's good. We have some participant reported here. Thank
Can
you.
you please, sorry to interrupt, can you please show again what we need to turn off? Is
Okay.
it
When we go to settings, that is a data control. And in the data control, there is a place, improve the model for everyone. They label it in a way that is not so easy to see. That means I'll share my data. It's that needs to be off. If it's on, you're sharing your data. We need to make it off. When you make it off, it's going to be like that. Yeah, I can see Marion, Patty, uh, they just assume that, hey, you're helping us. We are improving the model for you and for everyone. But that is a subtext. Indeed, they are using our data here. So I hope we just save a few of our data security issues and data privacy. I'm very happy. If you didn't learn anything today, we just at least covered that thing. So if you're ready, I'm gonna move next, but there was a question about the environmental impact. I was planning to talk about some of those stuff at the end of the presentation, but in terms of the environmental impact, the previous models was much larger and produced much more carbon emissions. However, the recent models are much more lightweight. They are much more efficient. Also, people start generating or creating a data center by using alternative energy sources. Uh, I'm not saying that these are best or worse, but also when you're picking the data center, you can see the carbon emissions. When I am developer, I always go to least amount of carbon emissions so that we are going to be environmentally mindful about our choices. And one of the recent paper I read a few weeks ago, it just claimed that watching a 1 hour Netflix is worse than using 1 hour ChatGPT. If you are watching a Netflix, we need to ask how environmental affecting what is our environmental effect? So, do we have any question? Or I can. Each Arbaz, Bambuwala, what does it mean for everyone sharing? That means OpenAI going to use, not other people using your data, but OpenAI using to train their models. At Elon University, I've been developing this tool for a while. And one of the tools that I developed, Elon GPT for faculty and staff. One of the principles that we need to give every faculty and staff member equal access to these tools so that they can experiment. And that is the web page I developed for our dear colleagues. And this is very nice. This is branded as Elon University. And when you click here, you can see our logo and you can say, hey, what are you? And Elon GPT, can you help me to create my content? And this is the content creation part. And you can ask chat other computer related, such as, can you write me a code? Can you just analyze data and so on and so forth? This is the chat GPT, not the chat GPT, Elon GPT, used by our colleagues and staff members. We are piloting that to see that whether it's affecting and helping people to be more productive in the workplace. I'm very proud of this work. I've been working on it, and that's right now used, and we are assessing. Other than that, we integrated some of these eGPTs, Elon GPTs, for different purposes. We have advising and Elon website GPTs. This is an advising tool. When my students just ask, there is an Elon GPT for advising. There is another tool that I developed. It can read all of our advising handbook and provide information related to advising, such as what courses I should take, what are the dates these courses opening. This is my schedule. How can I schedule my schedule to make it best? And even it's a multilingual. It can talk about Japanese like that. It can answer your question Chinese. Even it can conclude multilingual like a Turkish. I'm from Turkey, and they just say, hey, this is the Turkish part. Am I right? And we have Elon GPT for our website. That is my third development. Last semester, I work on those. And let's say you just stop by Elon University's webpage and you're a parent. You're planning to visit Elon University and you don't know what is the best day and you need itinerary. We have a right now Elon GPT web page. You can type, I am parent visiting Elon University. What are the best day and can you generate an itinerary? This tool can read our cultural event calendars, other event calendars, identify the best day for the parents, and generate beautiful itinerary uh, even for certain visiting locations and how are they going to book their hotels and other information. We are still pilot. We are exploring the potential uses, and that is one of the important things when you're using this technology. You need to start pilot and iterate over time. You don't want to release all of a sudden and make big mess. Apart from that, right now I just want to show some of the application of this technology in teaching. First, online tutor. How many have we heard these a few questions. Maybe I should answer right now. Some is not accurate according to the native speaker of these languages. Yes, Zachary Taylor, I agree that when I read Turkish written by AI, I say, oh my God, that's so bad. One of the reason is there is not enough representation of some certain languages as much as English, and they are not learning well. But there are a couple of different models to overcome this. From Cohere in Canada, they curated all the world languages, more than 100 or 120, in equal amount to make it models much more equal and just. And there are a couple of development in that. Does Elon paying licensing fee? I am the director of artificial intelligence at Elon. I am working to develop some of those tools and providing people some support in that regard. I'm trying to make it, I have a limited budget and I'm trying to make it out of my best budget. So even though we have a not so much big budget like the Arizona State or California states, 120 million or $1 million, we are developing nice tools. If you have some computer scientist in your school or some enthusiastic people, you can develop those tools affordably well. Okay, let's look at the online tutor. This is the application for in my classroom. We are using Moodle. If you're familiar, it's a kind of learning management system like Canvas or Blackboard. And I integrated this technology to my teaching practice every year, almost last 3, 4 years. Before ChatGPT, I've been using it. Here is an example. This is people call me Dr. Moose because Mustafa, Dr. Moose. And my students can come to this chatbot in this Moodle to say, hey, what are the assignment? Can you give me? And it can read all the assignment syllabus and provide the information. Even it provide the links when students click, it direct them to accurate assignment and students keep up to them. It can read our textbook in the closed environment. It's not shared by the other third parties because of the copyright concern, and it can provide information related to textbook. And my students see the benefit of this technology, and I believe that's kind of very helpful. And interestingly, most of them using to navigate the course materials rather than content itself. Hey, do we have anything to do or something like that? Where can I find the quizzes? Something like that, rather than help me to do understand. Because I believe when you're just providing AI, you need to be more mindful. And I call it active learning exercises. Be mindful about AI. For that reason, I develop Socratic debate exercise for my class. And that is, if you're familiar with Socrates, is famous for Socratic dialogue. And when you ask a questions or debate, it just asks you more questions to think about differently. So here, I develop an exercise, ask my students, hey, you're going to debate with the Socrates to say some idea. Let's say you're debating about the importance of education, and you're saying that education is all about securing a job in the future. And I want my students to see counter argument, see the Socrates, how Socrates pushing them to think alternative point, counter argument points or other, points. And here is an example. As you can see, when the person just say, I believe education is full all about securing a job, Socrates just say that, wait a minute. Tell me what you mean by education. What do you mean by securing a job? It is very good because the first principle of critical thinking is clarity. You need to be clear about the definition. You need to be clear and precise what you're talking. And my Socratic debate exercise very kind of well received by my students. And I just observe personally is a kind of perception. After using these tools, students' critical thinking skills kind of boosted a little bit. They can just start to think, okay, if I'm debating with Socrates, that tool might ask me that question. I need to be more careful about my definition and so on and so forth. So the second, I have a mock interview app. I teach leadership and human resource management too. And in this app, my students just come and take an interview, a mock interview for their dream job. Here I put it Michelin chef, cook, my dream job. After watching all of those English baking show, I said, I'm ready to take this job. Interview. Let's take an interview. And I just say, hey, I learn all of these cooking YouTube channels. And my mock interview app just going to say, okay, do you think watching a YouTube is enough? And I'm gonna go a little bit fast here. I have some conversation with AI. And my students, after taking interview for their dream job, they write complete and it gives them feedback. It says, hey, you're not fit for this job. You're not cook. You're not a Michelin cook. Your score is really bad. Your critical thinking skills is really bad. And it seems that you need to think about alternative dream job. That it is rushed to me right now because I was very joking to this tool, but my students sometimes receive really decent feedback and they say, hey, have you ever considered certifications? After interacting with this tool, my students say that, okay, I'm put my career plan. I'm going to work on those issues. It seems like these are the important consideration that help my students more than other online tutors or other activities. So these are active, engaged learning principles that you can craft around AI. If you give students use AI, often they just struggle. But if you just create an activity involving AI, they love it and they learn more than these other, hey, go do some stuff with AI. You can also make it personalized learning. What do we mean by personalized learning? There's a few way you can do it, but simple way, this is another chatbot I developed for my classroom. And I ask my students whenever you are trying to learn something, provide your background. Here, we learn a class concept tall and flat organizations. I work in a pizza shop. How can I see that concept happening in there? And the chatbot contextualize this information for students and explain in the pizza shop you can see such concept happening in such and such way. If you're teaching calculus, encourage students to share their traveling. Hey, I was traveling from A to B. How calculus helped me to understand this concept? If you're teaching history, you can just ask people where they live, and you can just connect and personalize these informations too. A very simple exercise, ask students to share their background and how this concept learned in the classroom can manifest in that environment and personal life. My students find a lot of interesting interactions or connections. We have been talking about Maslow motivational theory, if you're familiar with, and I didn't know that Maslow was a Jewish immigrant from Germany, 1940s, and my students was Jewish too, and she just told me, I learn a lot about Maslow, and he's my favorite, researcher. I'm planning to go motivational study. I said, what happened? He was from Germany, Jewish immigrant, not a Jewish immigrant, Jewish refugees, and so on and so forth. I said, wow, that's a really cool, interesting finding. And she just connected with Maslow more than previous one. There's a say, see the connection. Am I right? So, other thing, you can generate class materials apart from the learning in class. Here is an example. I just say I'm teaching a legal issues. This is a chatbot, ChatGPT. Legal issues surrounding copyright materials. Please go and search the internet, find a recent case about copyright and AI, and write me some case study. There's a very interesting. I'm using AI to write a case study about AI. And right now it's searching all the internet findings. And just recent, last month, a new case just came here. You can see January here. Let's put it this way. Right now it's searching the internet. Just, pardon me, you cannot see here. January, Meta case just came, recent case. And I just said, hey, can you write a recent legal case that we can discuss in the classroom? And it collected all of those information from the internet and write a case study. And if you want to collaborate, ChatGPT have a new tool they called Canvas. You can open the canvas like that. I just say open the canvas. And right now I can write everything and I can give a feedback to ChatGPT, change the content, write something new, and so on. Here is an example. I just write here, I can type something. As you can see, I can edit my input and I can ask ChatGPT to do something for me if I need it and give feedback. And it start writing back. It's just doing by itself. I said, can you just rewrite in different way with different word choices and it just go find the relevant resources. Nice part, it can read my articles, it can read my Zotero or other reference manager. It can go search information and add those information accurately cited here in this document. After you and AI work on this document, you can just download this as a Word document and distribute it in your classroom. This case writing just took me exactly a minute to complete, almost 2 minutes to complete. Is ready for our class discussion. If you want to generate some quiz questions or exercises, let's say you are teaching some new concept and you want to generate an exercise, I developed some exercise generator on ChatGPT. And if you have a subscription account, you can share these custom chatbots. I just call this custom chatbots already here. Is very simple. I said, hey, whenever a user asks you a concept, summarize the concept and come up with 5 interesting creative ideas that can be used in active learning activities in classroom. I just type self-efficacy as a concept to learn, and it just come out with 5 different possible classroom exercise, active learning exercise that I can use in class. And I said, hey, can you generate full materials needed to run this exercise? Instructions, students' handout, PDF, and slides, everything. It just did everything. Right now, it's writing the instruction for faculty members and to share. Again, this is a kind of a collaborative environment. You can just collaborate and add your comments. I said, hey, can you make it everything, put it on the Word document so that I can print and share it? I don't have time. Am I right? And it just write everything to the Word document. Here, the final output, ready to print and send it to my students. And I can say decent in the process that you can give feedback, improve the part wherever you want to do it. Also, I don't know what kind of learning management system you are using. I integrated these chatbots to Moodle as I show it to you. When I uploaded a new document, a canvas, it can be it can use in the canvas too. When I uploaded a document or chapter, it can generate the questions based on the Bloom taxonomy, such as high-level thinking questions. Often the questions are so base level, definitional. I like some scenarios, some high-level applications and analyses, and I uploaded the document, picked the concept to be generate to some quiz questions. And one of the important thing I just want to highlight here, I was teaching a medical course. Am I right? Students from the health science come in, and I said, "Hey, can you generate questions applied this concept to medical field for my nurse students to understand better?" And this tool generate these questions, as you can see. And I just want you to look at this question. What do you see? You see something? We are going to talk about that later, but look at the name. When I say, hey, can you generate a medical question? It just go with an Indian name, Dr. Patel. When I say, hey, can you generate a other question? It just pick one of the other new Philippines name or Chinese name. That is a bias embedded in the ChatGPT and other large language models. It assumes all the medical workers are coming from immigrant backgrounds. Enough. It generated the questions, and I just added here, can you just integrate and make it everything to my canvas, which means my Moodle. And here the my Moodle page, and it generated the file. I picked the files and every question integrated, ready to run on Canvas right now. So there's another example. You can generate all the questions just almost 5 minutes. Every semester, every class, you may have a different quizzes or tests. And they are very, not a decent, they are very good. I like the generated questions. What else? We are a researcher. How many of you are researcher? Do you have to do research? I have to research. Otherwise, they're going to kick me out. So there is a tool at ChatGPT. They called Consensus is another tool you can utilize. These are free. After you pay $20 monthly, you get everything free. That's a beauty. And this is a consensus. Have you ever heard this tool? It can do literature review and find the relevant pieces for you. And I just say that I'm writing an academic article. I need some literature information, psychological entitlement. I'm not familiar. Can you give me the major, preliminary readings and give me the recent updates, what's going on in the field? Give me the seminal work. I need to understand this field. It goes, read all of the scientific literature from databases. Every information is based on accurate representation, and you can click and open that sources. You can see everything. Previous models used to be hallucinate, but these models are better. When you give $20 subscription for ChatGPT, they are doing their best. And I just say, hey, can you organize the finding based on the title, dates, citation, variables studied, and key findings? And it just created my reading list. It is ready. I can read, get more informations. Even I can ask, hey, what are the major takeaway? Can you just summarize and give me some reading, based on the relation with each others? Can you give me a reading list? Am I right? This paper, criticize this paper, let's put them together and so on and so forth. This is a very easy way to start your literature review and make writing about it. Second, how many of you have to generate survey? Do you use Qualtrics? Okay, it takes time if you use Qualtrics. it takes me a lot of time, sometimes month, am I right? So here, 5 minutes to generate all qualitative questions. I just said I'm interested in commute, how people daily commute affect their job satisfaction. I am an organizational behavior researcher, and I said, can you generate me validated measures based on the literature and put them on the Qualtrics? Again, this is exactly 2 minutes. You're seeing here everything. And it's just generating integration right now with the Qualtrics. I download the Qualtrics survey. This is my Qualtrics. I open it and everything is there. Can you see? Everything is there. Just 2 minutes. And here the preview, you can see. Let's put it. The first one is empty. I put it. That was my mistake, not its mistake. I made a mistake there. Here, let's put it here. Here. I delete the first line. That was a mistake I did. And here, the survey is ready. And all of those measures are validated measure coming from the actual study. You can upload measures that you want to put it. So that is other tool that very useful. And how many of you have to write a report? If you're
Real quick,
admin person.
real quick, you had a quick question about consensus and the cost. Is that integrated into ChatGPT or an add-on to ChatGPT?
So when you go ChatGPT, there is those tools here. They are all added. Some of them is require some extra, but consensus is free. You can use free. And most of the tools are free there, and they have very decent tools. But my favorite is consensus. I use consensus for quick literature research or some finding a paper. It's free, just $20. You pay for subscription and you can utilize most of the tool. There's a nice questions. So write a report. I have to write a report. I am director of AI. I am
Right,
director
sorry.
of.
So it's like $20 for the year and then you don't pay again. I don't understand it. It's $20, but it's free.
$20 ChatGPT subscription, $20 for a month. My
For the
mistake.
month. And then
Yeah.
it includes being able to incorporate the consensus and these other tools. Is
Yeah,
that
it
correct?
incorporate all of those. I'm not promoting their work. I'm not working
Sure.
for them.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
understand. I just wanted to make sure I was getting confused.
yeah,
Thank you.
very nice. So, sorry, Mike, to confuse all. ChatGPT is a kind of platform. You can just get several different subscription. You can use free. There is a $20 monthly payment. There's a $200 monthly payment too. Is a very advanced model. I'm going to show that model. That is the scary model. And I put them end of our discussion. $200 model. So for the 20, those plus model, ChatGPT subscription monthly, you can do most of those stuff. But the part is you need to learn AI literacy or just interact with the tool to understand how you can use for your work. So let's say you're writing a report and I'm a director of AI. I am also director of neighborhood. I am an assistant professor. I have to do research. I have to do a lot of stuff. And here, as an example, I have to write a report as well. I uploaded the document to ChatGPT. Here, you're going to see. And these are the workshop that I led. And I asked, hey, based on these data, can you tell me what was what was the people's favorite workshop? Why people like my workshop, and how can I gain some insight? What are the findings from these workshop database? ChatGPT by itself, I didn't define any column name. Read the column, identify the column, and say that, okay, let me look at these columns. It seems like important. Generate ratings for my workshop and analyze the relationship, why people attended some workshop, not others, and write a report on the Word documents and generated all of those graph and tables for me. I'm going to go slightly fast here, just generating, and here the report. And I just gave the same task to my students. It took them 2 days. I completed this task just a minute. Imagine right now. By the way, I want to be mindful about time. I have a few other examples. Maybe I can go slightly fast. You can do analyze long documents. This is a one document, almost 600 pages, but every page has two columns. 1,000-page document. In this document, there is a piece of information, just 3 lines of text. It is coming from 249. And I asked this information to Gemini, and can you find me that information? I didn't give the exact informations, and it just exactly find the page. Let's say you have a very large encyclopedia or handbook, you want to retrieve some information. This tool can handle it. And one of my favorite stuff, generating apps for my student success. You can generate app whatever you wish, whatever you think. One of my students got a job and he was asking, how can I allocate my resources or payment so that I can live, nicely? And I just said, hey, let me generate an app and share with you. I just type here, I want to generate an app. My student's going to look at their budgeting and these codes just run and this kind of generate an app for my students. I share this and it helped them to budget their earning. That is a loan payment, that is a rent, you need to save that amount of money and so on and so forth. However, you can use for your classroom. Let's say you're teaching correlations and you want to show that how correlation work, or you're teaching economy. What is a supply and demand function? I asked, hey, can you show me how correlation work? And it just generated this interactive app. I share with my students. They can understand what's correlations and how it happen in the workplace. I mean, happen in the data science. You can generate images. I don't know. I don't need to go that. I believe you all aware. You can describe whatever image you want. My wife loves cats and is, fancy outfit. I said, okay, let me generate something fun. And I said, okay, can you make a Gucci? And here you have a cat in front of the Gucci, very stylish. And you can generate flyers, other documents. I just write here, can you generate flyers and for job fair and just put it very nice job here. One of my favorite application, you can computer sound. Let me share my sound. You can generate jingle song for your students. I want to increase my students' awareness about the job fair is coming up. I said, hey, can you write a song? It's about to come about Elon University's job fair. And I shared this to my students when they are working out. They were listening to music and they were saying that, oh, really cool. I like that. Do you have another song? Here is an example. I want you to listen.
Hey students,
Can you
listen
hear?
up, here's the deal. There's a big event, and it's all surreal. Mark your calendars, don't be late. January 3rd, it's a date so great.
Elon University is the place to be. Opportunities waiting for you and me. Polish up your resume, dress to slay. The future is calling, don't delay. Oh, job fair vibes, let's go. Dream careers are waiting, you know. Shake a hand, make a plan. Your bright future's in your hands. Oh, job fair vibes, it's time to shine. Step into the spotlight, it's your time. January 3rd, don't you miss. This is your moment, make it bliss.
So after that, my students were saying that, oh, January 3rd, don't you miss. They remember the date, am I right? By the way, I'm kidding. I'm lying. January 3rd was my birthday, not the job fair. Anyhow, you can generate podcast. My students always ask me how they can find job internship. If you're familiar with Notebook LM, this is other tool. You can just upload any materials and it can generate podcast based on those, yeah, Capricorn, based on those input that you provided. Here's an example. I just generated a podcast to answer my students' questions related to internship finding. I'm going to go fast. And right now, two AI going to talk about internship opportunities at Elon. Listen, a few seconds.
Okay, so have you ever, kind of felt lost when you think about all the different career options out there?
Oh, yeah, I totally get it. It can definitely feel overwhelming sometimes, for sure.
Yeah. And so that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Huh?
It's all about Elon University's career resources.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, we're not just talking about basic resume workshops here.
Right.
Elon's got things like these micro internships
Yeah.
and this really intriguing.
Now, I just want to move a little fast so that we can have time for ethical implication. And I just want to keep the ground for ethical implication for all of us. And you can generate slides. This is another example. Just give you idea what you can do with AI. I uploaded my text materials and I just say, hey, can you generate slides? And my class slides was about almost ready, less than 2 minutes. And you can find a meeting time. People ask me, hey, can we meet? I just write, hey, can you find a meeting time? Here, exact minute again. I want you to see this is an email I'm writing to my students. And I said, hey, this is the meeting time. And it's just read my calendar and put every meeting time available on the calendar. Again, it just take less than a minute to find it. And if you're interested in news or other stuff, I'm an AI person. I like AI. Every morning, ChatGPT, read AI news and email me the today's AI takeaways. That's a kind of personalized newsletter generated by my interest. If you are interested in, you can just click this. This is my personal web page. I just try to share my, free tools there. It is still developing. You can click this web page and go there. There's an educational tool, and you can try to utilize. I haven't updated for a while, but I'll update soon. Edit all of those other example. So, what is the new collaboration rules? If you want to learn about AI, there is a four mindset you need to have based on the uh, book from Ethan Malik, Wharton professor. He just argued that you need to invite AI to every conversation that you have, and you need to be human in the loop, observe what AI doing, don't accept it. When you are inviting AI, consider ethical and responsible uses. Unless it's unethical or unresponsible, don't do that. If it's you see that is responsible or there's no ethical challenges, try to use Explore AI. Finally, it just says treat AI like a person. Hey, you're the expert in that field. Hey, can you act like my students? If you read this email, what would you think? Something like that. And assume that this is the worst AI. When I just prepared this slide a week ago, I was writing right now. There's a new advancement I'm about to show in the last slide. If you're not preparing yourself, you are not ready for the future that's coming very fast. If you don't know how to use AI, you can put yourself in a dangerous situation. For example, a lawyer, without knowing those how AI work, use AI generated output and just receive a fine because he just used hallucinated concern case studies. Overall, the rule is invite AI unless not ethical or unresponsible, observe and supervise, treat and give personality, and assume this is the worst, explore always the new models. Normally, I have a group discussion, but I just want to go ethical and responsible AI parts too. Maybe we can just combine these two discussion under. I was planning to put the ethical discussions open end. Let's talk all together, peace, answer your questions. What are the ethical and responsible AI uses? Last year, there is a more than 900 articles written in Chronicle of Higher Education last 2 years. And the most clicked article was, I'm a student, I use AI, nobody knows, nobody catch. So academic integrity in the workplace, in our institutions are very challenging with this new tool. And I've been hearing many people says, what are we going to do? And if you're trying to use detection tools, they are not working well. Indeed, they are just identify, human written content as AI written, sometimes AI written content as human written. So they are not reliable. And most interestingly, they have biases. Those detection tool have biases towards international students and minority group. If you're coming from those, your writing going to be marked as AI generated. That is to say, don't rely on those tools, but they are informative. They are just give you some idea. And one of the best way to identify AI written text, when you have history of students writing, you can see how the word choices change, how the student's voice change. If students' voice and word choices change drastically, that might be indicate that students using different tools rather than their own voice. And adoption rate across the board, students are almost 60%. That is an old stat. Students adopting this technology faster than faculty members. We have a recent stat just came, 80% adoption rate and so on and so forth. So we are behind their students and we need to understand this technology better. And this is very interesting. Normally, I don't like sharing this one a lot, but this is the stat just coming from one of those companies promoting their AI detection tools. They ask students, if you know that there is a policy against use of AI, would you use AI? And 70% of students said that I still use AI. So your policy is not going to work. You need to find another way. We have some discussion about how we can handle this. There's a spectrum of way that you can handle, or you can generate some interesting, approach and strategies. You can redesign your courses. You can take the writing exercises or other exercises in classroom. And one of the other tools you can integrate, such as Grammarly authorship tool, is a nice. You can see how students' writing evolve, students recording their writing over time, and you can see how it changed. It's like a writing process, sharing process. And one final sharing, 2 days ago, I couldn't add it to my slides yet. 2 days ago, OpenAI just came up with their finest not a finest, but a final model. Hopefully I can find here. So that model called O3. Do you remember the PhD level model? So this is the model that can go the internet, search 30 minutes, hours, and find relevant sources and write a materials at the PhD level, as a PhD kind of students level. And this is one of the report, one of the writing done by AI, all three models. And that's all written by single prompt. The user just say, can you write me McKinley's tariff about 1890? And here the content. And I asked some of my economic friends, colleagues, and they told me that's a really decent paper. You can just submit a conference and maybe you can get a conference paper out of it. And everything is written, and the AI work on this paper an hour, searching all the materials and come back. So my question to you, indeed, it is 36 page and all the references, all the mathematical formulations. So what my question to us, indeed, how are we preparing ourselves for the future like that? And do we have a principles in place? How are we just locating ourselves in that coming future? And that is the part that I just want to open the ground and talk. What do you feel? In the first part, I just talk about the positive side. Hey, it's an engaging tool, am I right? But in the second part, I just want to highlight, yeah, what are we going to do? I'm here to answer your questions, or let's have a discussion. What's your strategies? How are you planning to handle this?
I'll ask a question. Last week or on Friday, we had a panel with some of our own students talking about using AI. And one of the key takeaways was that the students said, if their faculty are not talking about it, then they're not going to talk to the faculty about it. And so I just thought that was an interesting point. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about that perspective, right? I think you just showed that slide where it said, even if you have a policy, that 70% of them are going to ignore it. So that really aligns to what we heard from our students. And then because they're uncertain if it's even allowed, they're just not asking. So I don't really know what my question is, except to bring up that point of tension.
Yeah. I've been having conversation with different groups, and based on your field and background, the attitudes you're going to build slightly change. At the business faculty, they are very excited about these tools. They say, "Hey, we need to teach." I have a great friends, art and science and other disciplines, and they just say they ruin my teaching, and I can kind of, corroborate. I can see their point. I can understand. And for those people, we suggest that for each assignment, you need to specify the AI rules. If there is an assignment about writings, is even small, even reflection. I heard a story. My colleague just put a write about yourself, who you are, and person just copy paste everything to ChatGPT and get the personal reflection from the ChatGPT. And even the reflection, such as one or two paragraph writing, needs to be clarified whether a student should use or shouldn't use AI in that assignment. If you do that, then you're going to communicate openly. If you have a AI ban policy, just write it everywhere. Just say you cannot use AI in that assignment. You cannot use AI in that assignment. Just a big warning at the top of the assignments so that you're going to aware the students, hey, it seems like AI use is not available in this assignment. For the other faculty members who are welcoming to AI use, I suggest them to craft an exercise around the active learning. Don't let the students to go write an essay by using AI. It's not going to help them. You need to come up with a much more creative way. Let's say you're teaching let's say from my field, I'm teaching organizational, behavior, organizational structure. Rather than, hey, go and do ChatGPT exercise, I will just craft an exercise around the organizational structure. ChatGPT might be a slight or small part of it. So that in this way, you're going to make the content flourish, make the content or learning objective the center. Otherwise, students going to see that, maybe the chat GPT is center here. It's kind of where you are centering your learning objective. If you put it, chat GPT use is important, and students going to give an importance to that tool. But if you put learning to content and learning objective is important, then they're going to shift their attention. In my, mock interview or Socratic debate, students love it, and they didn't see that that is a chat GPT or tool. They said, hey, it was a really great learning tool. They just told me. Am I right? But if you just put it to chat GPT to write an essay and so on, I believe you're not getting the best of out of this tool. And we were about to create some writing integrity application or some materials for our class for our faculty members, and we are come up with a kind of positioning ourselves. They call quadrant or quadratic, or like four square shape. Am I right? And the low end, you don't take a measure to protect your academic integrity. And also, you're not changing your course structure, assignment and assessment. That is a laissez-faire approach. You just say, okay, you do whatever you want. I'm not going to catch you. And that's kind of harmful for the learning environment, I believe. And the second piece, you take extensive measure, but you're not changing your assignment or assessment. That turn into policing. You're just policing and you're just communicating, I'm not trusting you, whatever you're going to do it. For me, the best is going forward to right corner, change the assignment, assessment, and also use some academic integrity tools that we have, such as you can use Grammarly authorship. Have you ever heard this tool? You can just start using it to see how students writing evolve. They're recording their writings, and you can just see whether students copy paste some content from different pieces and just give overall how students write over time. Or if you don't have any budget for it, you can just open Google drivers or Google OneDrive shared folders, share the students with students, share the content with students that file, and there's a version history. You can see how writing evolve, and it's available to everyone. And you can see whether a students copy paste a big chunk of something and bring it to writing piece and so on and so forth. I hope these are kind of give you some idea what we are trying to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion in the chat, especially about like copyright infringement, knowing from publications what is real versus what is generated. I do see Nicole has her hand up. Nicole, you want to ask your question?
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie. I was going to ask Mustafa, how do you check for students using AI in an online class where you can't get them to write in person?
How do you check it?
How do,
So
sorry, did you understand my question?
yeah, you're saying that how we are going to understand whether students use online AI tools in the online courses.
Yes, because I
So
can't
when we
have
are,
them write in class.
yeah, writing class, there are a couple of, is a spectrum of approach, am I right? I had that conversation a few days ago with the religious studies group, and we were discussing maybe we need to make a lab. You know, you when you take a physics class, you have a physics content and physics lab application. And that's a very extreme example. You can just start teaching in class and hold a short 30 minutes lab, maybe run by one of the students online, and everyone needs to attend to complete their writing sessions in during that writing exercise lab. And other way, that is the scaffolding our teaching learning expert always talk. When you are assigning, they just said, when you're assigning a course materials, you need to just uh, look at the process, how students writing and this writing evolve. There's a regular check-in and see that how they are completing their work. You want to see that their draft, their messy writings, how they are developed and put everything on down there. And you are walking through with the students. And but is this other way, it might be a demanding for the faculty member. I understand. Again, we don't have any clear answer yet. There's no tools that you can, reliably identify students, whether students using, chatbots to write their materials.
Thank you.
I hope those are helpful, but these are generic question, a generic answer. I'm sorry about that, because people working on it, they couldn't come up with a really clear answer yet. I was about to share. Can you see my screen? I just kind of show that is a very disclaimer. Maybe I can share that. And that is the materials I asked ChatGPT to write academic integrity. And that is a meta because AI writing about academic integrity. And that tool that I show it to you, deep search the internet and come up with these findings from different institutions and put everything together. It is almost how much? 40 page. And I'm happy to share with you. There are some interesting idea from the internet. You can just glean and get some uh, way that other institution using to protect their academic integrity. So Turnitin and other tools are good. They are detecting, but there is an again slight word choices or when you change slightly grammar mistakes, you do it. It's all of a sudden all this capacity Turnitin generate, catching people is diminished. That is to say, they are not reliable. I can show one example here, and you're gonna give your judgment. here, let's say, what was the Declaration of Independence? Okay. Who wrote this Declaration of Independence? Any guess? Jefferson, yes. Let's go AI detector and let's put it to this tool, AI detector, detect. It says 100% AI generated. Jefferson, I will say. So, and I have another tool right now to demonstration, sometimes to colleague. You cannot see my screen, but I just say to AI, hey, can you write me short to let's see whether we are going to get something. So there is another way. There is another tool I was showing my colleague. This is an OpenAI again. And when I just say, can you write me something about self-efficacy and stuff, and this is AI generated, is it detected. Sometimes this tool are not detecting. And my point was sometimes when I put it AI generated content, this tool says that, hey, this is human generated. So that is to say, these tools are very wiki-wonky, they just label it human generated text AI, AI generated text human. And the best way is scaffolding, developing alternative approach for students learning. Some people start multimedia examination, oral exam, or some people says that whenever you write, you need to defend, explain to me in the class, come to my office hours, and so on and so forth. And if you have another alternative strategy you use, I'm very happy to learn from you too. What are the interesting and creative way that you just heard from other people?
Do you have any final thoughts or questions from the audience or even from you, Mustafa?
No? And with that, I was about to say, Chronicle of Higher Education say AI going to shake up higher ed. Are you ready? Hopefully, you're going to be ready after that workshop or talk. If you have any question, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm very happy to share my resources or whatever I can do it. I can send that AI generated content to to
Yeah.
you, and
Mhm.
you can just, if you want, feel deem appropriate, you can share with other people.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I think if you can share some resources and even your slides, we'll share those out to people who had registered for this event. I think we got a whirlwind tour of the implications, even for folks who had some ideas. I found myself like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it could do these things. And I know that we're all kind of in the place kind of struggling between that balance between how do we keep the integrity of our coursework or our research and scholarship, but also leading these tools to productivity and not shortchange ourselves or students for the next step or success in their future pathway. And I think we continue this conversation at our university and higher ed in general in finding this balance, right? And maintain the integrity of our degree and of our discipline. So we're obviously not going to find a resolution in this hour and a half today, but I think you gave some good starting points of just seeing the larger ramifications of what it might have in our work across the spectrum of the tasks that we do in higher education. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone attending. Like I said, I'll get any handouts and things and share those with folks after the fact later this week. But we appreciate having you here today, Mustafa. I think I
Thank
learned
you.
a lot. And I hope the rest of you did as well. So thank you for joining us. Hope you'll join us for some of our future programming around talking about AI as we continue to think about it here at USM.
Thank
Enjoy
you for
your
having
day.
me.
Yeah,
You
thank
too.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks all.